La siguiente conferencia viene a sustituir a una que estaba programada al principio, en la que iba a intervenir Michael Likudis, que es el director de la Escuela de Arquitectura de la Universidad de Notre, que es uno de los principales apoyos de este premio, y en su lugar va a hablar Semes, que es el director de su máster en lo que llamaríamos nosotros Preservación del Patrimonio, y quien va a hablar en nombre de la universidad para explicaros la forma en la que trabajan allí y la forma en la que se enseña arquitectura en su universidad. Gracias.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm delighted to be here. I'm sort of a late entry onto the schedule because I have although I'm delighted to be here, I'm sorry that I'm substituting for Dean Michael Likudis, who was unable to be here, so I have both the happy and sad duty to speak in his place. But I was asked to talk a little bit about the School of Architecture at the University of Notre Dame. I see a couple of my colleagues are here participating, and as well as some of our alumni on the program, which I'm very happy about. As many of you know, for about 25 years now, the School of Architecture at Notre Dame has had a curriculum based on traditional architecture, classical architecture, traditional urbanism. I would have to say this has taken a variety of forms. Many people think that because the School of Architecture at the University of Notre Dame teaches this curriculum, that means that all the professors have exactly the same idea of what we are to teach. That isn't the case. I think there's broad agreement, but also there's variety within that agreement, which I think is a healthy situation and something that we would like everyone to understand, that there are different avenues which lead perhaps to the same destination ultimately. In that 25 years of teaching, we've now had the opportunity to see a generation or more of our students entering the profession, entering academic life, and we're very proud of those alumni, some of which, as I mentioned, are on the program today. We have both an undergraduate and a graduate program. The undergraduate degree is a 5-year professional degree, which entitles those who complete it to take the examinations for licensing as professional architects. In that 5 years, those students have the great experience of spending the entirety of their 3rd year at our program in Rome. And if any of you know our campus in South Bend, Indiana, the campus itself is very beautiful. But let's say it doesn't always present the optimal environment in which to study classical architecture. Rome, however, does. And so we're very pleased that our students have this, I think, unique opportunity to spend an entire academic year in Rome to enrich their studies. It's a life-changing experience for them, and for those of us professors who have the opportunity to teach there, it is also, I think it's worth saying, is also a life-changing experience for us. In that 5-year program, our students study classical design, they study building technology, they study professional practice, architectural history, all of the subjects that you would expect in a professional architecture degree program. Now, while we teach them classical architecture, because our undergraduate students in particular come from a variety of backgrounds and will pursue a variety of professional careers, we don't insist that everybody design all of their projects in the same style, but we do insist that they know, that they have a fundamental understanding of the historical formal language. We think that whatever style of architecture they pursue in their later life, that this training will make them better architects, whatever they may decide to do. And in fact, our students do pursue careers in a broad range of different kinds of practice. The graduate program is a little bit more focused in the sense that the students who come to the graduate program choose one of 2 tracks of study, either classical architecture per se, or traditional urbanism. Now, that split is not shall we say, mutually exclusive. They have to sort of choose a concentration or an emphasis, but most of their classes are the same, and we make a real effort to make sure that those two tracks do not get too far apart. But it's a matter of emphasis, the urban scale or the building scale. In that case, the curriculum is a bit more focused in terms of the teaching of classical architecture on the one hand and traditional urbanism on the other. Now that takes 2 or 3 years depending on the preparation that the students bring with them. Although some students, by invitation, can spend an additional year and actually complete both tracks. And we've had several now who have taken that option. And in some ways, it's the optimal fulfillment of our hopes for our students, that they would in fact master the total range of study from building scale to the city as a whole. One of the things we're proudest about is that our students tend to have skills that get them jobs. What's interesting is that even in times of economic crisis or downturn, nearly 100% of our graduates are employed upon graduation. And there's a very simple reason for this. Well, aside from their native talent, they have skills that architects of all kinds are looking for, because it's actually rather rare nowadays for students to leave a school of architecture who actually can draw beautifully by hand. And we insist that our students develop that skill as much as possible. And we have students who are being sought after by a very wide variety of firms, simply for that reason alone, although of course there are other reasons, but that is one of the strong points. Our students can draw and they can talk about architecture in ways that give them an advance on their professional careers. We're very proud of our alumni. I know probably Melissa Del Vecchio is getting a little tired of hearing this, but I know if Michael were here, he would point you out as an example of one of our alumni who has experienced great success, and we're very happy that you're here and that you're involved in this program, and look forward to hearing your remarks later. I'm very proud to be able to announce something new, which is, as Alejandro mentioned, we have a new addition to our graduate curriculum, which is a Master of Science in Historic Preservation. You might ask, what took us so long? Because in some way, after 25 years of teaching students about how to make new buildings and new cities and new neighborhoods in ways that continue a tradition going back for a long time, you might think, well, it's about time we also think about how to take care of the buildings and the cities and the neighborhoods that already exist, that we have inherited from the past. And in fact, it works in both directions. People who want to work in conservation need to understand the architecture that they're asked to conserve. People who are designing new buildings in historic settings need to understand the architecture around them so that they can make new places that don't ruin the historic setting. So we see this degree program, which is for architects, people who already have architectural study, to pursue an additional training in historic preservation as a way of drawing those two things together, so that the care of the historic patrimony and the design of new places is brought together as a single ethic, if you will. Those students, like all of our graduate students, will spend a semester in Rome, where, as you can imagine, the opportunities for this kind of study at an international level are, again, optimal. We would, of course, welcome any and all of your inquiries. Many of our students are international. We're very happy to welcome international students, both as undergraduates and as graduate students. As a matter of fact, one of the things that made my visit to Madrid, this is my first time here, even more pleasant, was the fact that one of my students who is in school now, who is a Madrileña, was able to give me a lot of very helpful information that has made my visit much more pleasant. So you have one of your own in our program even right now. We also have students from China, from South America, and from Africa, really around the world. So I would encourage you to get in touch and let us know of your interests. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to introduce our school, and best wishes for your conference. Thank you, Alejandro.